He was going to get that machete. And it's about to get a whole lot worse. How can it get worse? Oh my gosh, I was like this. They're going crazy. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It is February, which means that it is time for my February pick for the Black Horror Reading Challenge. This month is reading an indie horror book, independent horror book, and I have chosen Frenzied by Brandon Massey. I also forgot, so I'm going to insert it now, that this is a challenge put on by Book Tribe with Ty. You can find her on Instagram. I think that's where she's most active, but she does have a BookTube account. I don't know if she's on TikTok. I don't know if I follow her on there, if she is. This is actually take 2. I had a whole intro that I was filming, and I was going over the synopsis of the book, which was The Quiet Ones by Brandon Massey. And then I get to the end and it says psychological thriller. So I had to go looking, and I found another one by Brandon Massey called Frenzied. So that's what we're going with. Now, I have read him before, which is why I was confident with picking something of his. I read Nana last year, which was really good. It was very lifetimey, but I got a kick out of it. If you are participating in this challenge, that is another horror option of his. I did some research and I found Frenzied. So this is taking place in South Haven, which is a premier mixed-use community in Metro Atlanta. No clue what that means. This is a vibrant place where old-fashioned country living gets a modern update, but there's also something deadly lurking. What is that? This is my first time reading it. The first incident is dismissed as an aberration. A college student goes berserk and hacks his family to chunks with a machete. But a day later, a young woman riding her bicycle is chased through the streets by her own neighbors. Then a teenager takes a deadly joyride using his pickup truck to mow down everyone in sight. They're going crazy. This sounds really good. I'm glad I'm going with this one instead. As the incidents pile up, the only thing they share is that each person launched into an inexplicable, uncontrollable frenzy. Mark Deacon, an ex-cop and chief of South Haven's private security force, has never seen anything like it, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. How can it get worse? Let's see. Within 24 hours, South Haven is declared a quarantine zone with every entrance barricaded and military snipers positioned outside the perimeter with orders to shoot on sight. Fearful residents huddle inside, as they should, uncertain whom to trust, anxiously watching one another for clues of where the terror might strike next. Together with Dr. Hannah Bailey, a brilliant CDC scientist dispatched to investigate the threat, Deacon, the cop, or ex-cop, did it say ex? It said ex-cop, teams up with a motley crew of neighbors, and they hatch a desperate plan to find out answers and stay alive. But the spreading menace might not have arrived by accident. It's 6:47. I actually need to go. But I'm curious if this is gonna turn like a little speculative. Like, is this gonna have some... I mean, it's horror, and I feel like... No, not every horror is speculative, though. But I'm wondering if this is gonna be one of those unexplained type of things. Like, something is getting into their bodies, you know? I'm curious. Now I want to read it. And I was planning on starting the book once I'm on my lunch break. I can't because the book that I picked is already on my Kindle and this one isn't, and I need Wi-Fi. So I'm going to have to wait to start it or start it on my phone, but we'll see how that goes. So y'all, it's been a couple of days since I started filming this. I believe I started filming this, I think I filmed the intro on Friday. It's now Monday. I actually didn't start it until yesterday, Sunday. And what's so crazy is I just posted a weekend reading vlog, and I had just said, oh, like I really enjoyed reading over the weekend because I don't read that much on the weekend. And I was like, I can't wait to read some more. Girl, I did read though this past weekend, just not as much as I did for that video, but it's also because I had listened to some audiobooks as well to help me along with it. But I did start it last night. Now, here's the thing. I told you I finally found a horror. Whenever I went on Storygraph to mark that I was currently reading it, and I marked the digital edition, it said did it say speculative thriller? Suspense. It says suspense thriller. Well, I'm still gonna read it because I'm pretty sure this is a horror. Maybe not just flat out horror, like it might be a mixed genre, like maybe thriller and horror. I even had to look up what's the difference between a horror in a thriller. And I think the main thing was, with a thriller, you're finding the who, and with a horror, you're trying to answer the what. Something like that. I'm going to read it anyway because I think it's scary. So I read the first, I might as well turn it on because once I'm done with this clip, I'm going to continue reading it. I read the first 2 chapters, so I stopped on chapter 3. This morning I wanted to eat some cereal, so I read a little bit of chapter 3. The book isn't that long last time I checked. Like 322 pages, that's not bad. Y'all, so it starts off chapter 1 with that college kid murdering his dad. But it was just such a scary thing to read because that's what we start off with. The 2 parents are coming home. They just got off of a cruise. And they don't find the son, and the mom starts hearing something, and she goes upstairs, and he's like, almost sound like he was drugged out. We know, like, I know it's not that. I'm not gonna say this just yet. However, when you look up the reviews on Amazon, you know, on Amazon, when you do a review, you have to put, well, yeah, you have to put some kind of like title, and it'll be in bold. And a lot of people put something as their title, which technically I should say it. But for some reason, I feel like I'm spoiling it because I was kind of upset that I saw that. So I'm not going to say it just yet. I'm going to read some more. But if you want to know now, just go look up Frenzied on Amazon, look at the reviews, and it's like some of the top reviews. He is like, eyes are red. He's talking, but it's not like he's making any sense. And as I'm reading it, he was saying something like mama out get, and I kept correcting it in my head, like he's supposed to be saying mama get out or something like that, or get out, but he was saying like out get. And then I realized, because he kept saying that, so I'm like, oh, he's actually saying that. It's not like it's not an error on the author's part. It was just so crazy to read because then the wife's like, he punched the dad, right? And she was like, you know, don't get close to him, don't get close to him. And he punches the dad as she's trying to help him up, y'all. Oh my gosh, I was like this. And then my mom busted through the room at that time. She scared me. She's like, Harold, get up, Harold, get up. Because she saw where the son was going. He was going to get that machete. He was going to get the machete. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she went and hid in the bathroom because the husband did tell her to go. Like he said, run to the bathroom. So it's not like she left him there on purpose. He was hacked to pieces. So here's the thing. When I did read some of the reviews on Storygraph, the rating on Storygraph is a 3.85, which is not bad at all for this kind of book. However, when you look at the reviews, the one thing that I don't really like about Storygraph is that you can only look at the reviews. You can't just look at the 1 stars, the 5 stars, like on Goodreads. So that I do miss because sometimes I only want to see 1 stars if there are some. But you do have the option to click on reviews only, so something written. A written review, not just them pressing the little buttons. Some of the few that I saw, some people said it was a little repetitive, and how the first, you know, I don't want to say the first half, but the first maybe 30% was focusing on those individual killings. And I can see that happening. The first chapter, we start off with the son killing the dad. The second chapter, what did we do in the second chapter? Who were we introduced to in the second chapter? I'm going back. I want to see. Because I don't remember how that started. Oh, we were introduced to Mark. Who is the ex-cop. Mark Deacon or something. But I think he goes by his last name. But he lives in that little town, Safe Haven. Well, I don't know if that's the town though. Like, it almost sounds like a village. Like, it's very small. He's a security guard there. Chapter 3 is starting off. And I'm actually past it a little bit. They got called because some woman was missing her dog. They've heard a woman scream, and that's the one where she was mauled by the dog. So that's where I'm at. Because I don't remember how many of those incidents, tragic incidents, that I read in the synopsis. So I almost feel like that's what we're getting, the order of that. We started with that college guy, we got the dog. The next one might be the mama or something, like the little kid killing the mama or something like that. But I'm hoping, because the book is really not that long, and I'm hoping that these moments are very quick so that we can get to him wanting to work with that CDC woman or something. So I'm curious how long it's going to take to get to that, the meat of the plot, and them trying to figure out what's going on. Small little update. I'm back. I swear, every time I film, y'all are getting different angles of some of the rooms that I film in. I'm on 16%, chapter 7. I don't remember like how many chapters. I guess I read 4 chapters because I think I said I was on 3. So far, like I mentioned, someone had said that it was kind of repetitive, especially when it comes to the chapters where we're just going over the murders. And yes, out of all the chapters I read, all 7 chapters, I believe only chapter 2 and maybe the chapter that I'm on now, there was no murder. Every other chapter, like out of the 7, 5 of those chapters had that. Every time I get to the next chapter, I'm kind of like, okay, are we about to get another murder or where we're going? But I want to look at the synopsis really quick because I think I should be done. Because every scene that I read, I could have sworn I read that in the synopsis. So I want to look at that again. College student, I read that. That's the first one. A young woman riding her bicycle is chased through the streets by her own neighbors. I actually just read that one. A teenager takes a deadly joyride using his pickup truck to mow down everyone in sight. I have not gotten there yet, so there's still one more. Yeah. So they only spoke about 3? I could have sworn I read more things happening than that because there was one with a little kid. I'm not gonna say because it's not here, but there was one with a little kid. Okay. So yeah, I could definitely see this getting a little repetitive. However, reading the scenes are, I hate to say entertaining, but my heart pumping, pumping, pumping. I swear, every time a character in here is described as running, I imagine, was that Get Out? I don't remember what movie it was. I'm pretty sure it was Get Out. And it was one of the black people, I think, that were like just running very fast. Was it the guy that he met at that party that was running? Something like that. But the whole running thing, that's exactly how I imagine these people running. Very scary. Yeah, I'm gonna continue reading. I'm only on 16%. I have about 4 hours and 21 minutes left of the entire book. I'm gonna try and get to at least half today. I swear to you, I do not know how this camera works. I could charge this thing for 5 hours, and if I unplug it and I turn it on like the next day, it's not gonna turn on. Like it's not charged. What I have to do is charge it for however long, like 4 hours. And then as soon as I unplug it, I need to open it and like turn it on, and then it works the next time I need to use it. I don't know how that happens. I know I'm not overcharging this thing, but anyway, updates. It's been a couple of days since I picked up the book, the one by Brandon Massey. Well, duh, there's only one book in this video. Finally today's the 27th. I need to finish this by tomorrow because tomorrow's the last day of the month. I hope that this is not going to continue as it is, which it shouldn't. I hate that I'm reading these books so far into the month. For next month, I do have the book on hold. It's actually in transit right now. I actually went to the library to pick up 3 holds, even though I still have 2 in transit, and I'm going tomorrow. Back to the scheduled programming. Finally today, I picked it back up for my lunch break. I'm on 33%. And you guys remember how I said it's very repetitive, how we really just keep reading these different incidents that's going on where these people are going crazy. They're in a frenzy is what they're saying, Deacon. Finally, I'm on 33%. And I would say at the 30%, I'm not going to say that we're done reading those specific incidents, but we're finally getting somewhere in the story. Now they're trying to do something. I think I mentioned in the synopsis, like Deacon, the ex-cop, the CDC woman, Dr. Hannah Bailey, I think is her name. We just got introduced to her, and already Deacon has taken a liking to her. So I'm curious if we're gonna see a little something, something. But yeah, we're finally getting somewhere there. You know, someone has come in to try and figure this out. Oh, I'm actually on 36%, y'all. I have 3 hours and 7 minutes left. It's just so weird because I'm so used to having an audiobook when I read books. It took everything in me last night, but I was able to finish the book. Yesterday was the 28th. The good thing is that it was good enough that I was able to kind of doze off, but then like wake up and read some more. I believe I finished it at 11:10 maybe. So like 11:10 p.m. But I was able to finish it. I would give this book, again, that range in between a 3 and a 4 star. I still don't know what I'm gonna give it on Storygraph, but in between a 3 and a 4. The one thing that I don't want to say ruined the book because it was still entertaining to read, but just that 30% of just those different incidents. And sometimes, I didn't mention it, but we would get chapter 1 and we would get a detailed incident. Chapter 2, 3, whatever. And then we got to a chapter. Mind you, let's say this was chapter 6. We had read individual events happen in chapter 2, in chapter 3. And then we get to, let's say, I think I just said chapter 6. All of a sudden it's like, it didn't stop there. There were more. And in that chapter, we get 5 more, you know, or 4 more, or whatever. It honestly just felt really lazy. Like throwing up all of those different things that he was thinking of on the page and making them their own chapter instead of figuring out a way to embed it a little more into the story. But again, they were entertaining to read. Not entertaining, but you know what I'm trying to say. They weren't boring. The book itself was good, and at some point we got past all of that. I think I mentioned the 33% is when we started going in another direction, and especially once that 50% hit, you know, we're doing something else. And it was very icky to read, honestly, with some of the detail. And it's like, how did he think of some of these things? I don't know. I would have loved if, because again, it's not that long, it's like 327 pages, but I think in the 250 range would have been even better had he taken off about 100 pages of all of that detail from the beginning and just give us a couple of different scenes here and there. That would have been better to me. Still really good. As far as it being a horror, I hope this is a horror because if not, I wasted my book pick for this month, but I think it is. The reason why I thought it was is because if I go on the Kindle app right now, it shows you the categories it's in, and it's in the horror category. So that's how I found it. But if you go on Storygraph, it says like suspense thriller or whatever it says. If anything, it might just be like a mixed genre, like thriller and horror or something like that. I'm counting it as a horror. I thought it was scary. There was like a what and a who. Like I said, it was kind of mixed. But that's it for today's video. I hope I mentioned everything I wanted to. Comment down below whether or not you are also participating in this challenge. If not, you still have time. We're only getting into March. And I'll see you next week. Bye!